Coming to this video today, you might be thinking that absolutely everything coming to your website is 100% trackable, that you know exactly where everyone is coming from what specific site and what specific campaign, and that you have that data on so much of a lockdown that there is no way people are slipping through. You are dead wrong. Social media, for instance, has so many blind spots. From entire platforms like WhatsApp to simple things like share buttons on Facebook, it is really hard to track certain things, and we have to figure out how to track the untrackable. Well, today I'm going to be talking to you about all of this. We call it dark social, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is, what it means for your business, and I'm going to give you some great ways for you to track the untrackable. My name's Trent Kennelly. I'm a marketing strategist, and on this channel I talk about all the things that you can do to improve your business through marketing, sales, and analytics. So if that sounds good to you and you're excited, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment and let me know if you've used any of these techniques. I know you don't know what they are now. Just wait till the end, and then you're going to be able to let me know if you've used any of these before, and let's get started. All right, what is dark social? Dark social is any activity online that isn't trackable. Now you might think, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Why are we even bothering with this? Actually, 70 to 75% of all social activity is completely dark and untrackable. Now you're gonna say, Trent, that makes no sense. I can get anything I want on Facebook. All I have to do is install the Facebook pixel and I can track exactly what I want. Well, you can't track the share button. Once they click that, you have no idea where it goes. Also, any messenger like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or Signal is also social, but you can't track that either because unless there are very specific circumstances involved, which we'll get to in a minute, you just can't track what's happening on these private message streams. Then add to all of this that Apple is actually making tracking way harder. There are some lawsuits out against this right now, so we're gonna have to see how it plays out. But assuming Apple is successful, they're going to allow users to just click a button and turn off tracking for specific sites on their phone and their computer, which means that even sites like Facebook and Google, which are notorious for their tracking, are going to be dark on Apple products, and that's a huge part of the market, which makes the data even more unreliable than it was. Okay, so what does this mean for your business? Aside from the digital marketing aspects, we're still going to keep all of that stuff, of course, but this specific thing is like going back to the days of billboards. You used to put up a billboard, you still can, your traffic would increase to your site or to your store, and then you could say, okay, there's some sort of a causal link. I know that I put up a billboard a week ago and now all of a sudden there's a lot more traffic. But how do you know that that traffic didn't come from some crazy radio announcement you didn't even know about? You have no idea. You really can't specifically pinpoint and say this is the exact reason for this traffic, which means that it is a much more context-based determination. You kind of have to use if this, then that statements and kind of say, yeah, it's probably true that this is the cause for this. It also means that it's really important for us to try and collect information without relying on Google Analytics by just putting up the pixel and forgetting about it. We need to provide Google Analytics with more information, or we need to find other ways of getting this information. All right, let's talk about how to get that insight on dark social, and the first thing I want to talk about is UTM parameters. This is probably the most straightforward way to get this insight because what this is, it's tracking data. So this URL might look like a total mess to you, but that's actually specific tracking data that Google Analytics uses to categorize your data a little bit better and help you to do your analysis a little bit more easily. So here's some typical parameters. You're seeing all three of these up here right now. The medium is the channel. So the channel is email or social media or something like that. So it's a very general idea. The source is a little more specific. So Facebook is a source for the medium social. YouTube is also a source for the medium social. And then campaign is something that you define one time, meaning that if you use campaign equals work close 1, 2, 3, 4, then you should never use work close 1, 2, 3, 4 as the campaign again, because if you do, it muddies the waters. You want to be able to go to that campaign in Google Analytics and say, I know that when I look at the campaign equals work close 1, 2, 3, 4, that they came from Facebook and they came from this specific post on Facebook. So it's a very easy way to make it very clear where these people are coming from. Next, ask them. This is very simple. It's a simple pop-up form that you just ask people how they heard of you and you give them some options, Facebook, YouTube, email, Instagram, whatever. They can click those options and then they can move on. This has to be extremely simple. It has to be a single line question, how did you hear from us, and a single answer that they can click and move on and forget about. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. If there's any kind of work involved in this at all from the user's perspective, you're going to lose them. The benefit of this, though, is that you get this answer straight from the horse's mouth. You get this answer straight from the user, so you don't have to guess where they're coming from. And you don't have to use Google Analytics, which can be a little bit bulky for things like these. It allows you to just very simply understand where they're coming from. Setting this up is extremely simple. Just go to Hotjar, select the Surveys tab, create a new survey, edit it the way you want it to, make sure that you're set up with Hotjar on your website, and then just turn it live. That's it. Next, use a referral system. So a referral system incentivizes users to share with their networks. And in exchange, the sharer gets some sort of a benefit. So a good example would be if you refer 10 people, then you get a discount on your next purchase. This works for a specific reason. It's because every person who's doing referrals is using a specific code, a specific URL, which means that you can track sales from that referral code URL. It also allows you to break down those traffic sources when you're looking at it in Google Analytics to really understand what sources they're coming from, if they're coming from Facebook more or something like that. And you can kind of get a better feel for word of mouth on that. Now, one big downside is that it's really only a certain type of person that's active using referrals. So it's maybe not a holistic view, but it'll still kind of get you there. And then you can set this up very easily. All you have to do is use Referral Candy. It's a little pricey, but it's totally worth it. It's a good system for setting up referrals. Next, discount codes. The idea here is that you're offering a specific code on a specific campaign on a specific platform, okay? That's a lot of specific, but the idea here is that you're being very particular about this because it makes it easier to identify the best sources on the back end. So even if you're just getting it to WhatsApp and you're having a specific code for WhatsApp groups and people who are coming through that way, then it's much easier to say, even by just inserting it this way versus that way, it was more effective for my brand and for getting sales out of it. Now, I want you to be very, very careful here because it is very easy to move from a discounted brand to a brand that has been diluted. Brand dilution is where people say, I'm not gonna pay full price for that ever because you're always discounting it and you're always giving a lower price. So I value your brand less than you allege it to be, right? And you can check out this video if you want more information on that and how to price anchor and how to balance that with brand dilution. But the idea here is that you wanna be very careful with discounting. Don't do a big discount ever. I would say never unless it's like Black Friday, and don't do it too often or that's gonna cause the same problem. Last point is to separate your landing pages. So this has been done in podcasting for a long time and a lot of other places, but let's just use podcasting as an example. Anytime you hear someone tell you to go to a website like www.casper.com/BW, that /BW at the end is a link to a specific landing page. In this case, the BW is for users who listen to Business Wars, and people are able to share that link or go visit that site because they listen to Business Wars and nothing else, right? This is the only place that this is posted is people who are listening to Business Wars. And so Casper can say, all right, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the performance of people who are visiting from that /BW, from that Business Wars podcast ad that we did, and I can say then whether it's effective or not. Now, I'm gonna provide that link in my description. I always do for this sort of stuff. And if you click on that, you'll be able to visit the same website for the Business Wars landing page, and they'll still attribute it to Business Wars. But because this is contextual and this is not highly specific, that's okay, because what they're saying is, well, yes, maybe this person came from YouTube and they didn't come specifically from the podcast, but they did come from somebody who referred them there from the podcast. And so in a contextual way, it still is the same thing, right? And so that works well for them. And then as to building the pages for this, it's very simple. All you have to do is duplicate the same page over and over again. There really doesn't have to be anything different about them. Change the URL slug, so that's /BW, to whatever you want it to be, and put them up live on that specific place. It's all about isolation. So wherever you're putting this is the only place you're putting this specific link. Last point I wanna make here is that honestly, what we just talked about, all of that is just a Band-Aid. These things will get you some of the way, but not all of the way. Because right now, with the technology we have today, it's actually impossible to get total clarity around dark social. Dark social and data obfuscation are actually increasing, with people far less often sharing pictures and videos and that sort of stuff on public social channels and more often sharing them on private social channels than they used to, which means that this is going to continue to be more and more of an influential area that we really need to focus on. It's important for us to pull as much of this information out as we can, and the only only way to do that is to isolate that data. That's the name of the game. That's what everything we just talked about was. It's isolating that data as much as possible. So obviously this is pretty difficult as a method to kind of figure out how to get all of this stuff done. These methods do work very well as long as you can figure out how to isolate as much as possible. That is really, really important here. So please try them out. Let me know what you did, what worked well for you. Make sure that you give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you're into it. I would love to hear more from you about how this went for you, and I'll catch you in the next one.